Forget everything you thought you knew about tonight. Our star running back, just 65 yards away from history, was questionable all week, but the final decision just dropped, and it changes everything. While Green Bay loses their edge rusher and star safety, we're getting key pieces back right when we need them most. But here's the brutal truth. The Bears have a real shot at something we haven't done in years, with tiebreakers falling our way and our rivals facing brutal schedules. And the cherry on top, our all-pro tight end and linebacker are back at full strength. The stars are aligning, Chicago. Stick around, because this could define the entire season. The news that just broke Bears Twitter in half has a name, DeAndre Swift. And let me ask you something. How many times this season have we seen our starting running back pop up on the injury report and felt that pit in our stomach? I'll tell you, too many. But this time, folks, this time it's different. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN just confirmed what every Navy and Orange fan has been praying to hear. DeAndre Swift, our workhorse, the guy with 935 rushing yards this season, the back who's just 65 yards away from his second 1,000-yard season, is suiting up tonight against Green Bay. Let me say that again. For the folks driving, working, or multitasking, DeAndre Swift is playing. With a groin injury that had him limited all week, with a questionable tag that had us all chewing our nails, our number 4 is taking the field at Soldier Field tonight. And I believe, no, I really believe, this is bigger than it looks on the surface. You know why? Because we're not just talking about a back coming off a minor injury. We're talking about the engine of our offense. The guy averaging 4.9 yards per carry. The guy with 7 rushing touchdowns. The guy who's been Caleb Williams' safety valve all season long. Let me ask you, what would have happened if Swift couldn't go tonight? I'll tell you, Kyle Monangai is a solid player, a reliable backup who's shown he can carry the rock when called upon. But Swift is different. Swift is the guy who can convert third and short. Swift is the guy who's caught 29 passes for 254 yards. Swift is the guy who forces defenses to respect our ground game. And here's what no one is talking about, but I'm putting it on the table right now. Swift is coming back just as the Packers are more vulnerable than they've been in years. Micah Parsons, their star edge rusher, tore his ACL last week. Done. Evan Williams, their hard-hitting safety who's a beast against the run, is out with a knee injury. Do you understand what that means? I think you do, but let me break it down anyway. The Packers just lost 2 of their best run defenders at the exact moment our best running back returns. That's not coincidence, folks. That's fate finally smiling on Chicago. Think back to the first game against Green Bay 2 weeks ago. Swift ran it 13 times for 63 yards. Solid numbers, but nothing crazy. And you know why? Because Parsons was crashing the edge? Because Williams was flying downhill on every snap? Because Green Bay had their full defense clicking? Tonight is different. Tonight, Swift is running against a Packers defense that's banged up, that's vulnerable, that's there to be taken advantage of. And I'm telling you right now, if Ben Johnson and Luke Getsy draw up the right game plan, if they give Swift 20 to 25 touches tonight, we're going to see a performance that reminds everyone why this guy signed with Chicago in the first place. But here's the flip side, and I've got to keep it real with you, because that's what we do here. Swift is coming off a groin injury. Those things are tricky. They can flare up at any time. And with Rome Odunze out with a foot injury, with Luther Burden III out with an ankle, our offense cannot afford to lose Swift mid-game. So what does Ben Johnson do? I think he puts him on a pitch count, gives him 15 to 18 touches instead of 25, uses him strategically in key moments, and trusts Monangai to carry the load in lower pressure situations. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just Week 16. This isn't just a divisional game against Green Bay. This is the start of our playoff push, and we need Swift healthy, not just for tonight, but for San Francisco next week, for Detroit in Week 18, and for whatever comes after in January. But you want to know the craziest part of all this? Swift is 65 yards away from 1,000. 65! If he averages what he's averaged all season, he needs about 14 carries to get there. 14 carries in a game where we need to control the clock, keep Jordan Love on the sideline. and impose our will physically. Let me ask you, is there a better setting for Swift to hit 1,000 yards than by torching the Packers in their own divisional house? I'll tell you, there isn't. And when Swift crosses that 1,000-yard mark, when he becomes the first Bears back to do it since, you know what? I can't even remember the last time. That's how rough our running back situation has been in recent years. But tonight, Swift has the chance to change that narrative. Tonight, Swift has the chance to etch his name into Bears history. Because let me tell you something about this team, about this season, about this moment. This is different. We're not talking about the Matt Nagy Bears trying to force Mitchell Trubisky into something he never was. We're not talking about the John Fox Bears running Jordan Howard 25 times a game just to lose 13-10. We're talking about a 10-4 team sitting atop the NFC North. We're talking about a team with a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams who's getting better every week. We're talking about a team with a defense that, with Tremaine Edmonds returning tonight, will be whole for the first time in weeks. And at the center of all that, running behind an offensive line that's finally opening lanes, is DeAndre Swift, healthy, motivated, ready to prove why Ryan Poles bet on him in free agency. Does this guarantee a win tonight? No. The Packers are still the Packers. Jordan Love is still Jordan Love. Lambeau Field in December is still one of the toughest places to play in football. But I'll tell you this, and I say it with every fibre of my Bears-loving soul, having Swift on the field gives us a chance to control the game, a chance to keep our defense fresh, a chance to win in the trenches and impose our style of football. And at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for. A chance, a fair shot to beat our most hated rival in the biggest moment of the season. Swift gives us that chance. Now it's up to the rest of the team to take it. If you thought the Swift news was huge, wait till you hear this, because what I'm about to lay out is going to completely change how you see the rest of this season. And I'm not exaggerating one bit. The Bears, our Chicago Bears, have a real path to the #1 seed in the NFC. I'm not talking about some wild scenario that needs 47 things to happen. I'm talking about a legit, attainable, realistic path to home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. Let me break it down, because I know some of you are thinking, wait, aren't we behind Seattle? Yeah, right now. We're the #2 seed at 10-4. Seattle's 11-3, sitting at #1. But here's what no one is factoring in. Seattle's last 2 games are on the road against teams still fighting for playoff spots. They go to Carolina, who needs to win to have any shot at beating out Tampa Bay for the division. Then they go to San Francisco, who literally has to win every game left just to sneak into the postseason. You think those are easy games for Seattle? I'll tell you right now, no chance. And here's the beautiful part. If Seattle loses just one of those games and we win our last 3, we both finish 13-4. And who wins the tiebreaker? The Bears. Why? Because all of Seattle's losses came against NFC teams. We lost one to an AFC team. Better conference record. We win. But wait, it gets better. The Rams are also in the mix at 11-3. Their last 2 games are against Atlanta and Arizona, teams they should beat. But if we end up tied with them at 13-4, guess what? We win that tiebreaker too. Same reason. All their losses are in conference. And here's the part that's absolutely insane. If there's a 3-way tie between us, Seattle, and the Rams at 13-4, you know who comes out on top? Let me ask you, do you know who wins that scenario? The Bears. Because first they break the tie between Seattle and the Rams since they're in the same division, and then whichever of those 2 comes out of, that loses the head-to-head tiebreaker with us. Let me say that again because it's unreal. In a 3-way tie for the #1 seed, we win. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but we still have to play San Francisco. We still have to play Detroit. Those aren't easy games. And you're absolutely right. They're not. But here's what I believe. If we can beat Green Bay tonight, if we can take down the team that's owned us for years, if we can do that without 2 starting receivers, then why can't we beat a desperate, pressured San Francisco team? Why can't we beat a Detroit team that crushed us 52-21 in Week 2, but is now missing Sam Laporta, Terry and Arnold, and Kirby Joseph? Let me ask you, is it impossible? I'll tell you this, nothing is impossible in the NFL in 2025. Nothing! And here's the part that gets me the most hyped. Even if we lose tonight to Green Bay, we can still win the division. How? Because that tie Green Bay had with Dallas means if they lose to either Baltimore or Minnesota, and we win our last two, we win the division. Do you get what that means? It means that even though tonight's game is huge, it's not the end of the world if we lose. We still control our destiny. We still have multiple paths to the division title. But here's the wildest part. There are scenarios where we can be the #1 seed, even with a 12-5 record. Let me explain how. If we lose tonight to Green Bay, but win our last two, we finish 12-5. If Green Bay loses to either Minnesota or Baltimore, if Seattle loses to both Carolina and San Francisco, and if the Rams lose to either Arizona or Atlanta, guess what? We're the #1 seed at 12-5. I know that sounds like a lot of ifs, but think about it. Is it really that crazy for Green Bay to lose to Baltimore? The Ravens are one of the best teams in the AFC. Is it that wild for Seattle to drop 2 road games against desperate teams? Is it that impossible for the Rams to slip up once? I'm telling you, it's not! And the fact that we even have these scenarios, the fact that we even have these paths, the fact that we're even talking about the #1 seed in December, that's something we haven't been able to do in years. Remember 2018? When we went 12-4 with Trubisky and lost at home in the wildcard round to the Eagles because we were the 3 seed. Remember how that felt? Remember thinking, if only we had home field advantage. Well, this time we can have it. This time, the path is right there. And here's what makes it even more special. If we get that #1 seed, we don't just get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We also get a bye week. A week for Kyler Gordon to fully heal. A week for all our banged-up guys to recover. A week to prepare while other teams beat each other up in the wild-card round. Do you understand how valuable that is? I think you do. But let me say it anyway. In the NFL playoffs, health is everything. And having an extra week to heal could be the difference between a Super Bowl run and an early exit. But here's the reality we've got to face. None of this matters if we don't handle our business. Ben Johnson said it all year. We play to go 1-0 every week. We can't look ahead. We can't assume anything. And he's right, because in this year's NFC, nothing is guaranteed. Seattle could win out. The Rams could go perfect. We could stumble in San Francisco or Detroit. But I'll tell you this, and I say it with all the passion I've got. We have a chance. We have the talent. We have the coaching. We have the momentum. And more than anything, we have destiny on our side. Because think about it. When was the last time the Bears had a real shot at the #1 seed? When was the last time we entered December with control of our destiny and multiple paths to success? Let me ask you, doesn't this feel different? Doesn't it feel like finally, things are lining up for Chicago? And here's the cherry on top. If we're the #2 seed and win tonight, odds are we'll face Green Bay again in the wildcard round. At home, at Soldier Field, with everything on the line. 3 games against the Packers in 1 season. 2 of them in the playoffs. Can you imagine anything more Bears than that? Can you imagine anything more fitting than finally exorcising our demons against Green Bay on the biggest stage? But if we get that #1 seed, we avoid that 3rd game. We avoid having to beat Green Bay 3 times. And honestly, after all the years of heartbreak against them, after all the gut-wrenching losses, after all the pain, wouldn't it be beautiful to just avoid them altogether? I think so. I think this opportunity, this window that's opened for us, is something we can't waste. It's something we've got to grab with both hands and never let go. Because at the end of the day, chances like this don't come often for the Bears. Not in my lifetime, not in most of yours. And when they do, we've got to be ready to take them. Tonight is the first step. San Francisco is the 2nd. Detroit is the 3rd. And after that, who knows? Maybe we're celebrating a division title. Maybe we're celebrating a #1 seed. Maybe we're celebrating something even bigger. But it all starts tonight. It all starts with seizing this opportunity the universe has handed us. And just when you thought we were done, here comes the part that's truly wild. Because this third piece of news is what ties everything together and makes all of this make even more sense. Cole Kmet practiced in full on Thursday. Full. Our starting tight end, the guy who's Caleb Williams' security blanket, the blocker who makes our run game click, is ready to take on his full snap count tonight. And Tremaine Edmonds, our all-pro linebacker, the brain of our defense, the guy who makes all the calls and gets everyone lined up, is back. Do you understand what that means? Let me paint the full picture for you, because this is beautiful. We're heading into this game without Rome Odunze, without Luther Burden III. 2 starting receivers out. Any other week against any other opponent, that would be devastating. We'd be panicking. We'd be making excuses before the game even started. But this week, against this opponent, we've got the edge in the injury department. For the first time in what feels like years, the Bears are healthier than the Packers going into a divisional matchup. Think about it. Green Bay lost Micah Parsons for the entire season. Their star edge rusher, the guy who makes their whole defense go, done! Evan Williams, their safety, who's a missile against the run, out with a knee injury. Meanwhile, we're getting Swift back. We're getting Kmet back. We're getting Edmonds back. Our defense is going to be whole for the first time in weeks, right when we need it most. And you know what that tells me? I'll tell you this. The universe is finally working in our favor. After years of injury bad luck, after years of losing key guys at the worst possible moments, finally, things are lining up. But here's what gets me most excited about Edmonds coming back. DeMarco Jackson has been balling in his absence. He's been making plays. He's been filling gaps. He's been proving he belongs on the field. So what does Matt Eberflus do? I think he eases Edmonds back in, gives him limited snaps tonight, lets Jackson keep doing his thing, and suddenly, instead of 1 elite linebacker, we've got 2. That kind of depth, that luxury of rotating quality players, that's what championship teams have. That's something the Bears haven't had in years. And now, just as we enter the most important stretch of the season, we've got it. And with Kmet back at full strength, our offense gets another dimension. Caleb can trust him on third downs. He can use him as a safety valve when the pressure comes. He can hit him in the red zone, where Kmet has been a beast all season. But here's what no one is talking about. With Odunze and Burden out, with our receiver room thinned out, guess who's going to have to step up? DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and yeah, even Tyler Scott. And let me ask you, isn't that exactly what we want to see? Our vets stepping up in the biggest moment, our young guys seizing the opportunity when it's handed to them. Because here's the truth, if we're going to make a deep playoff run, if we're going to compete for a Super Bowl, we need everyone to contribute. We can't lean on Swift alone. We can't lean on Williams alone. It's got to be a team effort. And tonight, with the injuries we're facing, with the challenges ahead, we're going to find out exactly what kind of team we are. We're going to find out if we're the kind of team that folds when things get tough, or the kind that comes together and finds a way to win. I believe we're the latter. I believe this team, this group of players, this coaching staff has something special, something we haven't seen in Chicago in a long time. And when Kmet catches that first pass tonight, when Edmonds makes that first tackle, when Swift breaks off that first big run, we're all going to remember this moment. We're all going to remember when things finally lined up for the Bears. Because at the end of the day, football is a game of momentum. It's a game of belief. It's a game of trusting that you can win, even when the odds are stacked against you. And tonight, with our key players back, with Green Bay limping, with everything on the line, we've got a chance to create a moment that defines our season. A moment that takes us from being a good team to being a great team. A moment that takes us from being contenders to being champions. So let me ask you this, Bears family. Do you believe Swift is going to hit 1,000 yards tonight by tearing up the Packers? Do you believe this team has what it takes to be the #1 seed? Do you believe that finally, this is our year? Because I'll tell you this, I believe with every fiber of my being that we're witnessing the start of something special, something we'll tell our kids and grandkids about, something that's going to change the story of the Chicago Bears forever. But I need you to believe too. I need you to join this family, this community of fans who've suffered together, cried together, waited together for years for this moment. If you believe Swift is going off tonight, drop a comment that says 1,000 yards. If you believe we're going to be the #1 seed, type Super Bowl. And if you believe the Bears are finally going to beat the Packers when it matters most, hit me with a bear down in the comments. And if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? This is where the Bears family comes together. This is where we break down every play, every decision, every moment of this historic season. This is where you belong. So smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you don't miss a single update. Because I promise you, tomorrow, after we take down Green Bay tonight, we're going to have more breaking news, more analysis, more reasons to believe. And you do not want to miss what's coming for Chicago. You do not want to miss your chance to be part of something bigger than all of us. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about football. This is about a city. This is about a tradition. This is about the monsters of the Midway reclaiming their place at the top of the NFL. So join me, join this family, and together we're going to witness history tonight at Soldier Field. Bear down, Chicago. Bear down.